So as you see that we have not limited ourselves to only towards making games. We have made shapes as well. We have learned about how to make a little of the animation as well. But that is what coding is about. Coding is not necessarily that you have to only make games through that. You would have to make many diverse things using the code as well. So today we are going to learn about how to make simulations. You can read this word on my screen right now, right? This word is simulations. So who has heard this word before? Just raise your hand. Do you know what this word is? Simulations. किसी ने पहले ये वर्ड कहीं पे सुना है? इस तरह की कोई चीज कभी सुनी है आप लोगों ने? सिमुलेशन के नाम जिससे? Yes, Bilal.
Sir, I know what simulation means.
Okay, so what do you think the simulation?
It is just a program, file, or a document that is an imaginary fantasy
That is an imaginary
world.
Sorry, that is an imaginary
Fantasy world. Yes.
fantasy world. Right? We are correct. Isa, you also want to say something? You raise your hand. Isa.
No, sir, I don't want to say anything.
Okay. So simulation is basically like what Bilal has tried to explain. It is a program in which you are experiencing to be at some place where you can't actually be at a certain instance. So a simulation basically is like a program that replicates the applications from the real life. It replicates the applications from our real life. In other words, in simpler words, what you can say is it is a computerized model for any event that can happen around us. So anything that happens around us or anything that we can be a part of, a simulation is basically a computerized version or a computerized model of that. A lot of us would like to play Minecraft, right? So Minecraft is basically like a simulation. Most of us would like to play, let's say, Free Fire, PUBG, and there was another game related to that, Fortnite. So many of us may want to like to play that game, and in that game you have to see the experiences of a character in a certain surroundings. Most of the games are basically like simulations. They are basically a computerized model of any event that can happen around us or any event that we can be a part of. So today we are going to work on a simulation that we have recently experienced in our recent past. Who remembers the corona outbreak? Who remembers the coronavirus outbreak? Every one of us do that. We still are living in a time when this virus can still be spread. So we are not technically in a safe zone right now. So we are going to make a simulation today with the help of code.org. We are going to understand how the simulations help us, how the simulations help the scientists. So what they have done is they have made an outbreak simulation. And in other words, if I would have to explain you what an outbreak is kind of a sudden, you can say expansion, a sudden, you can say exposure towards a certain disease. When a certain disease starts spreading very rapidly, we call it an outbreak. So coronavirus was kind of an outbreak. Everything was getting sick of it. People wanted to get vaccinated for that so that they can keep themselves safe and all. So today we are going to work on an outbreak simulation. That is generally like the corona outbreak something, but in this simulation we have to work on a different thing. Why do scientists they work on simulations? Now the question is this one. So the question that we have now is, why do we use simulations? What is the reason that someone would want to use a simulation? So why do we generally make computer simulations? So this is like an answer for that. A very general purpose of using simulation is to experience doing something that is expensive or maybe that is risky in real life. For example, if we want to learn how to fly a plane, if we want to learn, let's say, how to fly a plane, what do you think? Should we be given a real plane to fly on the very first day? I'm not getting any responses out of you guys. So I have a question. I would want you guys to answer that on my behalf. Listen the question very carefully.
No, because it would be too risky and we would know nothing about the controls and things.
Yes. Let's say that it's the very first day we want to learn how to fly a plane, and someone hands us over the actual plane and tells us theoretically that these are the controls, that is how to fly it. Would we be able to fly that plane without having any for previous experience?
No,
No, we would
no.
not be able to do that. And sitting in a plane is both very risky and damaging a plane is also very expensive. The life is important, also, the plane that is there is also important. It has costed a lot of money to be built. So, that is why, generally, we would not want an untrained person to fly a plane or even a car. Similarly, we don't want an untrained person to drive a car. Would we give our car to someone who is not trained, who does not know how to drive? Definitely, we would not, because that is again both life threatening and that is also the damages can be expensive both to human life and to the property as well. So,
Uh, and sir, it's also bad because the it would be very life risky. That's a thing. But the cars, they won't. We won't even know how to drive, which lane to go. We'll just crash into objects until the car explodes by water.
yes, and that is also like our life is in threat. I know that. But if some untrained person is driving that car, he can hit anyone on the road. So other people's life is also like threatened by that. So maybe that is not a good idea. So the first thing that we should do is make a computer simulation which gives you the experience of a road, just like a car game or something like that. You do not have to actually drive the car, but you have to sit in, like, let's say, a car like model and see on your screen how the road is and just drive it there. You're not actually moving a car even a single inch, but you are experience how a car should be driven, and that can give you a lot of experience about how to change the gears of a car, how to press the clutch, how to apply brakes, how to apply release, and all that. So similarly, let's say another example we have, if we have to, let's say, experience how the people are affecting with coronavirus or any deadly virus outbreak, would the scientific departments or would the government allow humans to be treated as test subjects in that case so that people can go outside and see how they are going to be affected with the virus and then can get some results for that? No, that can't happen. Similarly, that is the very case today we are going to learn about an outbreak simulation. That outbreak simulation is again an exercise that is R of code exercise, and that is also available on pod.org. Just follow me and I will show you how to access that. Currently, what you can see on my screen is I have opened this code.org website, code.org. The next thing, again, like every time we have to do is go to this learn button, click that, and we will return to the learn page. On this learn page, what we have is a lot of exercises available here. We just need to scroll down and find out the suitable exercise for us. I'm really sorry, I feel that my internet is kind of getting slow. So we have got to this page which says anyone can learn about computer science. So you need to scroll down and go to this R of code exercise. Click here on view more. Just wait for it to open. Now we have got a lot of R of code exercises. All you need to do is just scroll down to this outbreak simulator. So this kind of outbreak simulator is kind of a very interesting thing. You are given the responsibility of a small fictional town. Its name is called Monster Town. So there are two types of monsters. There are healthy monsters and then there are sick monsters as well. So there are sick monsters and there are healthy monsters. So let's see what is in there in this.
हो गया मम्मा.
So now you have got this outbreak simulator. This says code your own simulation. All we have to do is feel that we are a scientist, we are a doctor, and we are living in a city which is called a monster town. The monster town is kind of a fictional town. There we have a lot of monsters. Most of the monsters are healthy. The purple monsters are like healthy monsters. And you can see that these pink monsters are like little sick monsters. So the virus is kind of spreading in this town, and what we have to do is we need to stop the spread. And in order to stop the spread, we need to figure out a few things. Let's say in this simulation, we are going to learn how quickly the virus spreads. Can everyone in the town get sick? And the third question that we have to answer is, do the masks help? Is there a chance that these masks would help or something like that? So let's continue to its first lesson and let's see what's there for us. What you have here on the first lesson is that there is a small video that you guys can watch yourself. This is basically an introduction of how this outbreak virus is, how this outbreak simulation is going to work. Actually, this video is kind of very small, only 2 minutes long. So I will play this video so that you guys can watch it once. Let me just check if my sound is working fine. Yes, it's working fine.
Hi, my name is Helena.
Let me stop it here and open the subtitles. Now you can see and read what is being said and follow the steps that Helena is given. Helena is basically a microbiologist. So she is using simulations to understand how the virus is spread. So let's learn from her experience first.
Hi, my name is Helena, and I'm a public health scientist. This means I study how diseases spread in populations. What I love about public health is that it brings together my love for computer science and data to make an impact on people in a positive way. Scientists use the power of computer science all the time. We use computer simulations to understand the spread of new viruses. A simulation is a computer model of a process or a system. Simulations are
See, they have defined what a simulation is. Computer model or a process of a system, how the things would work. That is basically explained in a simulation.
a great way to learn things that can be hard to observe in the real world. They help scientists solve problems and test new ideas safely and efficiently. This graph represents the amount of people infected. In this case, we want to flatten the curve. Flattening the curve means that we slow the rate of people getting sick.
So the best practice that scientists would do is see how the virus is infected. They understand two things. First is that infections are on the top side, and the time that it takes for infection, how long this infection keeps there in the world is like represented on the horizontal line or here at from left to right. So what the scientists would want to do is that no matter how long this virus exists, they would want that it should not get too many people infected with that. Flattening the curve means that less people should be infected by the virus. The peaks should not be touched, and very limited people should be only be affected by the virus. The virus can spread for a long time, that is not a problem, but not many people should start getting sick of that virus. So that basically means flattening the curve.
That buys health professionals more time to get people vaccinated and to save more lives. We also want to help scientists and doctors get relevant data as they collaborate to create vaccines and work on new treatments. In today's lesson, we'll visit a fictional place called Monster Town, where a virus outbreak is about to happen. We'll be using computer science to understand how quickly a virus can spread and what can be done to slow it down so that all the monsters can get healthy again. We'll ask the questions: how quickly will the virus spread? What can we and Dr. Monster do to combat and contain the virus? You'll experiment with a few different interventions, like masks, crowds, and vaccines. You might already know the answers, but take a closer look. Run your simulation multiple times. What do you notice?
Okay, so let's start with this one. First lesson is about creating a simulation. All we have to do is just read these instructions here. And then we have to start working on the next level. So this first level says, today you're going to write code so you can run your own simulation of the virus outbreak in the Monster Town. First, we will bring Monster Town to life by creating sprites to represent the monsters. So we have to write or use the codes that are available here in the blocks section and bring them here. Here, this is called the workspace, and this is the blocks area. So you have to bring your characters to the workspace area from the blocks area. So what are the things that we need to do? First thing that we need to do is make sprites to represent 10 healthy monsters. So we are going to go to sprites and tell our system to make 10 healthy monsters. And then we are going to go to sprites again and make one sick monster. So in order to make one sick monster, we are going to go to the sick monster sprite and pick it up here. If we change this number to any number, let's say 5, now I will make it 8 or something. So these sprites or these sick monsters are going to get numerous. But I only want 1, so that is why I will change this number back to 1. This number here basically defines how many this kind of monsters are going to be there. As it says that we should have 10 healthy monsters, so we have added 10 here. And 1 sick monster, so we have added 1 here. Another thing that we need to do is we need to set the sprite size to 50. So we are going to go to sprites and set all sprite size to 50. Now you can say that the sprites have gone to become a little smaller, and it's more easier for them to roam around on the screen. Now we need to just do one thing. If I press the run button, you would see that nothing is happening. But I need to add this behavior here so that these viruses can move on screen. See, when I will put this code here, it would allow all the sprites to begin wandering. And wandering is like moving in any random direction. So when I will attach it here and press the run button, you would be able to see that now my viruses, now my monsters are just randomly moving in any direction. Once I have applied all of these codes here, then my animation would be complete. Then my first level of simulation is going to be completed, which is actually the second level. So once we are done with this one, we can continue to the next level. Okay. So these are the few things that you have to do on this level. First thing is you need to set background color to green. You can change it to any color that you want. You can make it yellow also, that doesn't matter. You can pick it to any color because we have not been assigned a certain color. So you can basically put it to any color that you like. Just make it a color which is on which both the, you can say, viruses are easily visible. So that is quite dark and they're easily visible. When once I will run it, it's going to help me go to the next level. And then I can proceed to the next level. The next level would have a little thing added to it, and we just need to complete the next level, keeping in mind all the instructions that have been given. This level is about events. It also has a very small video of 1 minute. I would want you guys to see this video as well and learn about events. I will stop this video somewhere in between and start explaining you what the events or what is meant by events. Okay.
Now let's learn about a programming concept called events.
So now we are going to learn about a programming concept which is called events. Also, please keep on telling me if you can hear everything properly. If there is any problem, you can let me know. Pushpa, I guess you have joined a little later, right?
An event tells your program to listen.
So what is an event basically? An event in a program is basically something, anything that can happen or can impact your characters during your program is running. So that is anything like that is going to be called an event. Event is basically anything that can happen to your characters. So once an event occurs, what we can do is we can try to decide what happens in certain cases an event occurs. So let's say in the next level we are going to learn about an event. An event is when a sick monster touches a healthy monster. So this event, when sick monster touches the healthy monster, is going to help us to identify what would happen in that event. If a sick monster touches a healthy monster, what is going to happen in that event? So that is basically what is going to be explained to you.
Listen for something to happen, and then react right away. Some examples of events are listening for a mouse click, an arrow button press, or a tap on the screen. We use events all the time as humans when we respond to different signals. When I'm walking down the street and see someone else coming towards me, I check to make sure I'm wearing my mask correctly. When we develop a simulation, we create a series of rules. For this simulation, we'll code this rule. When a healthy monster touches a sick monster, the healthy monster will become sick.
So the event here is explained in a way that if a healthy monster touches a sick monster, the healthy monster is going to become sick. Okay.
Here is a when touches event.
So making this event is kind of very simple. I will explain you how to do that. So one of the monsters got a virus. When a healthy monster touches a sick monster, it becomes sick too. So we need to make sure that our uh, viruses are getting, monsters are getting sick every time a sick monster touches them. So we need to ensure that. And in order to ensure that, we can use this when event. This when event is going to help us. When a healthy monster touches a sick monster, we are going to change our healthy monster into the sick monster. Now we are going to run it and see what happens. See, what I did here was, this block was empty. So I read the code and I decided what should I do. So I read that when a healthy monster, when a healthy monster touches a sick monster, what should happen? A healthy monster should change to a sick monster. So we are going to tell our program that a healthy monster should change to a sick monster. So now when we will run it, this is going to happen. You will see every time a healthy monster touches a sick monster, it turns into a sick monster too. So a lot of, let's run it once again. This is a healthy sick monster that you can see, and all these monsters are healthy. But when I will press the run button, you would see what would happen. Every time this monster is going to touch any other monster before this time runs out, that monster is going to turn into. See, the virus is spreading quite easily, quite rapidly. So now there was only one monster left that was without the virus, and most of the monsters were with the virus. This was from level 3. Now we move towards level 4. And on this level 4, there is another going to be an event. And now we need to code that. One way to slow down an outbreak is to wear a mask. Monster with face masks will be unable to get the virus or give it to other. To make something happen, when a type of monster is clicked, you can use a new type of event block. So if we go to the events block, we already have this event here. We need to see its behavior or its sprites. So whenever a healthy monster is clicked, what we want is that if we, let's say, click on this healthy monster, whenever we click on a healthy monster, a mask should come on its face. So for that, we are going to go to these two events. These two events are going to help us do that. So the first one is when a healthy monster is clicked. So once you click on a healthy monster, what should happen is that this healthy monster change into a masked healthy monster. Similarly, if you, let's say, click on this sick monster, this sick monster is going to change to a masked sick monster. Now you're not going to do anything else after that. Just run it and see what happens. You need to start clicking on the monsters who are wearing a mask, who are not wearing a mask. So this is that we should keep it running multiple times, and let it spread the virus first a little. Then I will start putting masks onto them. Now you can see that if I have put mask on all these three, let's say, monsters, they are now not spreading the virus, right? So when a character touches them, even they do not transmit the virus. So this is kind of happening right now. So that is it. These are the 4 levels that you have to do today. You can watch the recording as well to help you out in that. Tomorrow we are going to learn on the further levels of that from level 5 onwards. And hopefully tomorrow we are going to complete it as well. If there is any question regarding the simulations that you want to ask, you can ask now. Especially the kids who joined a little late, they can ask any question. I hope that you guys don't want to ask any questions.